Sweat through the tape.
But look, the boys are in Houston. This is a fun experience for them. They're going to all week.
Play for your freedom.
Heard you had a good time last night.
No, what do you mean?
What do you mean? I was here.
Five?
Yeah,
Five beers?
five whole beers.
These guys, they're in Texas. They're going to have a really good time. They're there for a full week. Really cool experience for these guys. Going to be a really good challenge for them, right? This is the whole – you brought this conversation up. It wasn't to make jokes, even though that's part of what we do. They had a 4-game series to start the season, right? You have a lot of opportunity to play a bunch of different guys, kind of tinker with some lineups, get some guys some opportunity, some at-bats, some innings, some experience. First weekend. Second weekend, same thing, right? Competition starting to ramp up a little bit. Same type of thing. You got 4-game series, a lot of opportunity to play a bunch of different guys. Now you go to Houston. This is outside of the travel part. The schedule of games is going to be very similar to what you're going to get in the weeks moving forward, minus the travel, right? So these are good. This whole week's going to be on the road. You got a Wednesday game against Rice. Rice is usually pretty solid. They've been down, but they're Rice, so they're never really know. And then you got Texas on. This is the round robin tournament thing that's at Minute Maid, right?
Yeah, the juice box.
Yeah, the juice box. You got Texas, who's ranked 15th in the country. Obviously, Texas is a solid squad. They're playing pretty good baseball. UL Lafayette, always going to put out a solid squad.
Not going out.
Obviously, playing LSU, a little extra juice for them, right?
Especially in that stadium.
Especially in that stadium. Closer to Lafayette, you're going to have, they're going to want to beat LSU's ass. So you're going to get their best bullet on Saturday. And then Texas State, another Texas school, they're going to be okay. Obviously, talent's not going to be as top-notch as LSU, but
long weekend.
Long weekend.
Hey, let's be honest. This is a dream. If you're a player, this is a dream trip to be on in the sense of they're about to have 4 games in a row of probably 10,000 plus every single game. This is a great tune-up for SEC play and or some kind of postseason feel because of what they're going to get in terms of crowds. I would love to have been a player on this trip simply because of what you're going to get here, not because of that shit.
Yeah.
That's inherited. We all know that. That thought process, okay, cool. But, on the playing field, this is cool. This is real cool.
No doubt. And look at what happened last year.
Rub that stamp on me.
What was one of the bigger moments in the year? Was that last year or the year before?
It was last year when Jordan Thompson hit the home run against Texas.
Yeah.
One of the bigger moments of the year, Jordan Thompson walk-off homer over the train tracks. You get those types of opportunities in tournaments and in situations like this. So it's going to be a really cool experience for them. It's going to be the first really big challenge for LSU. I'm looking forward to it because how are they going to react? First road games of the year, better competition, teams that really want to beat you, right? These guys that came in these past 2 weeks, they wanted to win, right? But there wasn't as much, you saw a little of this, the GAT, whatever. You get that. But you play UL, you get something a little different. Right, Texas obviously.
They ruined their season last
year.
The
talent kind of hops up too.
When
you get that and the talent hops up, it makes it that much.
For sure.
And on the road,
right? And the other thing, right now, this isn't 4 straight games like the last 2 weekends, but you are playing 3 straight weekends against teams. So listen, during the regular season, you have 3-game series against the same team, right? There's a reason why in professional baseball you have series, because in baseball anybody can win 1 game. The best teams are going to continue to win the series over and over and over again, right? So you're used to playing, okay, we got Friday night guy, Saturday night guy, Sunday night guy. You may see some of the guys in the bullpen 2 or 3 times a weekend. The more times you see them, the better you get. When you go in a tournament and you only get these guys 1 time, it makes it a little bit tougher, right? Because you may only see this guy 1 time and not see him again. You don't get the opportunity to have a lot of scouting reports on him. And so you're going through 3 straight weekends of playing teams, not consecutively. You're playing multiple teams. This weekend's going to be 4 straight teams, 4 different teams, but 3 teams in a row on the weekend. And so I think that poses its own challenges for these guys. And I think it's going to help them down the line. But, I mean, it's tough.
It's a testament to the coaching staff, honestly, to have to get ready every time.
No doubt.
But I also think you saw a little bit of the fine-tuning has started to already happen, especially on the pitching staff end, wherever you saw the last game against Stony Brook where LSU put up a ton, had a very comfortable lead, and then you saw them go to Who was? Oh, it was.
Ulloa.
It was no. That's what I'm saying. They got there, but it was Moffitt. It was Cam Johnson, and it was like, all right, get him out of here. Put Ulloa in. Like I gave you an opportunity. It kind of ballooned a little bit to the point where it's like, all right, I know who I really trust. Like you gave opportunities out there for players to make have a huge. Like Cam Little came in that moment too, where it's like, okay, this is a chance for him to be able to pitch and compete in a game where it kind of matters to see like what do you have. He came in with runners on, gives up a couple of hits, walks a guy, and then you go Ulloa, and he gets you out of it in 2 pitches. And it's like, okay, well, that's the reason that I trust him, and that's why he was last up. Because you wanted to see people compete in that moment to see, all right, how can we fill out this kind of middle part of the pitching staff, you know, because you have so many arms.
Right. No, absolutely, right.
Because Moffitt came in, couldn't find it. Cam really couldn't find it. He got kind of bailed out by the Milam
play
catch at second, where it was like that was hit hard, and he was really around the strike zone, and then you get to the point where it's like put a yo in. Like, so you see who he likes.
Yep. Right. And so you're going to have these. I mean, look at what Arkansas had to face this past weekend, right? So Arkansas had to go play in their tournament.
Put up Little League World Series numbers.
I believe that was they almost lost that game.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Right? So they are playing. You good? Your contacts messed up?
Just one's really blurry right now.
You look at what Arkansas, I think that was in Houston, right? That was in Minute Maid. Was it not?
I think that was at Arkansas.
No.
No, I think it was at Minute Maid, too. Somebody was there this weekend.
I think it was at Minute Maid. I think it was either at Minute Maid or in Dallas. I don't know exactly. It was in Texas.
Smooth.
And Arkansas plays Oregon State, who's ranked and good. Hagen Smith, lefty, probably the best pitcher in the SEC right now.
He's a problem.
Lefty, sitting 96, 98.
He's a problem.
Okay, so I want to put this in perspective. 6 innings, there's only 18 outs to make. He struck out 17 guys.
I'm going to say it again. He's a problem. And guess what? He came here and threw really well last year. He's a problem.
Problem, right? Top 5 pick.
He had 15 strikeouts through 5 innings, which means he struck out
everybody. Every out.
He mowed.
He wasn't perfect game.
I remember watching him last year here, and I was like, boy, who is this guy?
Yep.
He is absolutely mowing them down already.
But he goes, they take him out, they give up 4 runs, right? And they end up winning 5-4, right? Tough game. Then they got to play Oklahoma State. The next game goes into extra innings. They lose 2-1.
Push button, 2 strikes.
Crazy, right? Like, you are playing high-level situations in these tournaments, but you're playing teams you're not able to get comfortable playing them because you only play them one time. And I think that poses a challenge. I think Arkansas ended up going 2-1 this past weekend. They lost to Oklahoma State in the extras, but they won the other 2 games they had. And, you know, I'm not saying LSU is going to do that, but you're going to see them have to play different type of baseball against different teams that they won't see until maybe the postseason.
Yeah, I think it's a really good point because I'm not sure that every team that goes into these kind of tournaments go into it with a all hands on deck. I'll win this game however I can. Obviously, you want to win every game, but I don't think everyone plays it that way. So with that being said, like I think some of these, you'll get a Texas State this is a marquee win for them.
Right.
They'll do what they can to win every single one of these games. Everything that they can do to win every single one of them. Where LSU's not going there to get work, but they're also going there to figure out who we got and what we got. Right? Whereas you take a UL, call a spade a spade.
Did it last
take
year.
Texas State. I need this win on my schedule for me later in the year.
Because they know how important it
doubt.
is.
Exactly. So it becomes a little bit of a different mindset. And when you kind of ratchet up the competition, and basically, I won't say that every team's approaching it the exact same way. It becomes a tougher task.
No, you saw UL last year go into LSU and throw their Friday night guy on a Wednesday, and it screwed them up they lost 4 to 6 conference games the last.
Because of how much they prioritized that win.
Yeah, like LSU wasn't throwing schemes on Wednesday.
Right.
Like, okay, you got your win, great, but how does it set you up for your conference play, which is actually more important than beating LSU? And
no, it was not for them because I'm not gonna say it's
but
they're
in
still
totality,
in the tournament. And how high did that rank? How high did the RPI or the schedule, strength of schedule? How high did that help them by beating LSU in that game?
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what in LSU's case, like that's what we're not throwing schemes. Us beating
Right.
you doesn't mean any.
It's not gonna help us like it's gonna help you.
Right. So I get throw your best guy, do whatever you have to do, but don't look at it as okay. That was good on good,
Right.
because they're going to give you their best bullet.
For sure, right? And because those RPI wins make a big difference for them later down the line. If they can
And a little bit of pride.
No doubt, but that's going to help them more than that's going to help. LSU should win it. That's going to help their RPI, the team that beats LSU, more so than it's going to help LSU. And so they do what they can do to get those games and steal those games because that's going to help them down the line. So you're going to see some of that stuff over the course of this weekend. I'm excited to watch it, man. I really am, because this is going to be the first real big test that I see. Okay, let me see how he managed this, because these are big. You know what I mean? Like, this is how is he going to –
Not how is he. We kind of have a – I don't know, Jay. I say I don't know him. Like, I can't call his exact coaching style, but what I will say is I expect when the I don't know, runners on second and third, and the guy that's going 5 2/3 is reeling a little bit, and you got a 2-run lead. I expect for that guy he's pulling out of the pen to be like, he wants to see something out of that guy. This is, whether they know it or not, this is, I need to know if you can handle this, because I would like to be able to put you in this situation as we go through the year.
Right.
Not just hey, let me just get the first guy up who may be ready on the list or who may be available to pitch today. That's not what it is.
Right.
This is a moment I need to see,
Right.
Do you have it or do you not?
right, for sure.
You know his prep's going to be insane because that's just what Jay does.
Yep.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, he's
Of course,
ready.
of course.
He's gonna.
You know he's
They're
ready.
gonna be scouted. They're gonna be ready to go. He's gonna know what matchups he wants for what guys. But we talked about it before the season, and we even talked about it after the first week. Don't be shocked if these games don't look pretty. Some of them, right? You saw that this past weekend. Not every game looked pretty. As long as they are able to figure out how to get through these games and get some wins and not have a ton of losses. I mean, Vanderbilt, I think, has got 3 losses already on the season, right? So, like, you're going to go through some of these ups and downs with new guys on a team. As long as they can figure out how to win ugly early on and continue to start trying to figure it out, that's going to be better suited down the line, right? And that's just what you're going to have to anticipate in the first month and a half of the season.
Whether it's hits or no hits, we've talked a lot about the pitching staff for a while, but the hitters in this situation, being new, coming up in big situations with big crowds, this is where you want to see a little graduation. You want to see those guys kind of fight through at bats. You want to see those guys get deep in the counts. You want to see those guys foul off bastard pitches. This is a weekend where you're like, all right, this is what we want to see.
Right. What?
It's probably too early to do a projection, but from what you've seen so far with LSU and the lineup, who do you expect to see?
Well, that's what I was going to get to, right? You talking about some of the maturity and growing and doing these things, right? I think you're starting to see
The cream.
Well, yeah, but you're also starting to see some of the guys that, hey, he's been working on this, right? Now, they haven't seen the elite pitching yet, but last year, Jared Jones could not hit a breaking ball, right? He just couldn't stay back on it, was swinging over it. This year, he's made a big adjustment, right? That was a big thing. Hey, is he going to be able to be a little more patient, be able to not swing and miss as much, be able to stay back on? You've seen that early on in the season. You've seen him hit balls up the middle, homers, opposite field home runs, breaking balls, calling a shot, right? That's a huge thing. And that is a product of maturity and experience and hard work and him trying to do the things that he needs to do. You saw Paxton Clean get off to kind of not a great start the first weekend of the season. He didn't look great in some of the swings that he had. Moving forward, he looked pretty good these last couple weeks, right? Hit the homer. He's starting to feel himself, getting on base, more aggressive swings. Milam starting to get in the lineup, play a little bit more experience. Pearson's getting a professional bat. Tommy White he's having a great start. But, like, people look at it like, damn, I thought he would have had 4 home runs. Nobody's got 7 RBIs. He's hitting 350.
He had sniffed a lace.
And, like, he's doing what he needs to do. Like, you're starting to see Travinsky, hit the opposite field double yesterday. Like, you're starting to see these things happen. And you talk about who I think is going to be in the lineup. Those guys that I mentioned, I think those guys are going to be stalwarts in the lineup. Like, they're going to be everyday guys.
I think Bingham's in that conversation too.
I think Bingham's in there with the pure experience, but
Just keeps getting on base.
You have so many guys, man. You just gotta. And listen, as competition ratchets up. Thank you. Ratchets up. You're gonna start seeing these guys take that next step. You're gonna start seeing some of these guys maybe struggle a little bit because they're gonna see something they haven't seen. And then that's when you're going to start seeing.
And this is the first time outside the comfort zone a little bit of not in Alex Box. You're on MLB Network for at least the Texas game, which will be tape delayed, but at least it's like on national quote-unquote television as opposed to going to maybe some outside sources that you can find on YouTube, that's a friend of the show, that you can find out there, or you have SEC Network Plus, but this is going to be easily accessible, and you're not within the friendly confines of Alex Fox.
That's for me, that's what I expect to see Jada approach it a lot like he's approached the first 2 weekends, honestly. So I kind of get you away from home. I kind of get you on a bigger stage. Yep. I still need to see who's going to do what. So I still think you're going to see a lot of different lineups. I still think you're going to see him kind of switch it up to get the same kind of opportunities. And I don't expect to see 10-plus point blowouts. So he's going to have guys finish games out and kind of see what they are through. Like, you're not going to have – I highly doubt you're going to have guys with 4 or 5 at-bats through 5, through 6, and now let's go ahead and put in the bench or whoever's on the bench that day. I think you're going to see guys have to finish out games.
Right.
Interested to see what they do with the pitching staff, starter-wise.
That's the other thing, right? I mean, we've heard some rumors on who they may start on Friday. To me, that one doesn't make a ton of sense, right? Like, if they were going to change the Friday starter, if it's not going to be Thatcher, the name that there's a room. This is
live. This is on air.
What?
What?
Oh. So a Gage Jump has been talked about potentially starting Friday. I'm not saying he's not going to, and maybe there's a reason for that. I don't know Texas's lineup. I don't know if it's lefty heavy early on. I don't know what it is. They've been building Gage Jump up to be a starter. We know that, right? That has been the
impetus of the season.
Yes, right. We knew, hey, he's not ready. He didn't pitch last year. We want to get him in there. We're going to build him up, right? But to build him up, to already throw him in as a Friday night guy right now, when you have a guy throwing on Saturday who has been very dominant and has been used to being in that Friday spot and is not in a position where you're trying to ramp him up, it seems like he would be the guy unless there's a matchup situation that Jay likes more. I don't know that. I haven't done any research on Texas. I will go and do that after the show and talk about it.
Well, we finally have the information available.
Right.
If you see Gage Jump on Friday night, I would 100% believe it's matchup based and not off of, hey, let me move him here, let me move him out.
Yeah.
Because if it was that, it would be exactly
so I
what
would
everybody
imagine
would think.
Cade Anderson did not throw last weekend, right?
No.
Yeah, I would imagine he's throwing the Rice.
I would imagine he's throwing the Rice game. So I would imagine he's going to start on Wednesday. I don't know this for a fact.
Right.
This is strictly what I'm looking at, but I'm assuming. He's going to start on Wednesday. And then the Friday game will be either Thatcher, who's been starting Friday, and I guess Gage Jump, since he started last Thursday, is available to start on Friday, but I just don't know if that's the case. Maybe they want to piggyback. Maybe they want
double barrel him.
Maybe they want Gage to throw first, throw 3-4 innings, and then Thatcher come in after him. I don't know if that's what his plan is, but I would imagine, unless it's matchup based, that just Holman makes more sense if you want to change the Friday night starter, moving into Luke Holman. I mean, he's been dominant in 2 starts.
And we'll say this too as well too. Like, you just never know. Maybe there is instead of let's jump somebody in front of him, maybe there is the thought process of, if we push him back, we like his stuff against this lineup better.
Right.
Instead of, we just don't want him to face this lineup.
Right.
There is that possibility as well.
And look, I know we've talked about a lot of the arms. Jay obviously likes Javen Coleman a lot. You know, he threw him on Sunday.
What a pleasant surprise.
He looked good. I think you're going to continue to see him. It seems like his fastball has got a little extra giddy up, even at 93.
He jumped a little bit more. Yep.
Yeah, and so
he's consistent with it more this year too.
Absolutely.
He would kind of spike up to 93, but he sat, especially like that second inning out.
That first year back, yeah.
Of course, yeah.
Right.
I'm not saying anything like that, but he would, I'd get up to 93 and I'd come back out the next inning. It was 88 to 90.
Yeah.
And now he's kind of holding that 3 a little bit better. So, yeah, I'm not surprised at all. Not surprised at all.
And so I think like you said, that's a pleasant surprise to see him be as good early on in the season as he's been, especially in this line spot. What are you laughing at?
Because then you could fast forward if you want to play like pie in the sky of Newt and Chase Shores that are still just.
Which I don't think you're going to see Chase this year.
I know. I'm just saying pie in the sky.
You're going to see Newt.
When did he get hurt?
Before the year.
Okay, and then
Maybe
Chase
in the
Shores was
fall.
during the year, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, Newt's throwing, like, you're going to probably see him relatively soon, I would imagine.